They took us on this like rail train looking thing that was floating on magnetic freaking tracks, and it floated us to a different location, and it stopped us there. And there was a Nordic there. He was dressed in silver. He had blue eyes, long white hair, like a whitish, yellowish hair. And he says, I have to tell you something, and I want you to relate this message.
You are listening to Exopolitics Today with Dr. Michael Salla, your source for the uncensored truth regarding the human, extraterrestrial, global, and political agenda. Click the like button and subscribe to this channel. And now, here's Dr. Michael Salla.
We're back again with JP, who has returned from another mission. So welcome, JP, to Exopolitics Today.
How you doing, Doc? Glad to be here every time, bringing information to you that I'm allowed to say and the public to know.
That's great. Well, I know the last mission report you did, we talked about you going through some technology and having past life memories recorded. And you said something about long live the king, King Charles. And I believe you said it in an ironic manner, to allude to the fact that there were these seeds from the tree of life that was stolen, and this involved age rejuvenation. And I thought you were being just ironic saying that phrase because it was just after the coronation of King Charles III. But some people were kind of like a little freaked out by that. So you want to just elaborate on what you meant when you said "Long live the king"?
I'm not gonna say as much, Doc, about that, but if you could put like a link in the bottom and link them to when it was you, Elena, and Alex Curler and I, where we're talking after the conference, we talked a lot about that. And sometimes we do have to be careful how we talk. And sometimes you can't say nothing wrong or negative towards any entity or anybody. That's how I follow things. That's how I do it. I don't desire negative on nobody. I know a lot of people, a lot of people do wrong on Earth and on other places and on different realms. And I do not desire negative or nothing on nobody. Whatever that person or whoever does something wrong, they're going to receive what deserves to them, if you understand what I'm trying to say. It's always good, in a spiritual standpoint, to always think positive and say things that people will understand in different ways, if you understand what I'm trying to say.
I do, and I think that's a very important point. And yes, that was a roundtable discussion we did back, I think it was October 23 of 2022, and we talk about the seeds from the tree of life and why they were stolen and what that had to do in relationship to King Charles. And I fully understand and support what you're saying, because I mean there are a lot of people out there that name names that expose those doing wrongdoing. And for them, that's fine. That's their mission. That's their task. But that's not your mission. Your mission is to just reveal the context, the experiences, and what you're doing, and that's your mission. And if you start naming names of people doing all these terrible things out there, then you attract the karmic retribution for that. And that's
funny, but even if you say something positive, you attract the negative. That's how it is nowadays. But I know a lot of people understand, and a lot of people have been following my different missions and our contacts that we have done together and all that. And a lot of people are just joining and just hearing it for the first time and not understanding the past. That's why I encourage people to go through Exopolitics and listen to stories, that we have done maybe in the past 2 or 3 years. This goes way back, or even longer. But sometimes it's understandable what people think, and I'm glad we're here clarifying what our last interview.
Yes, that is helpful for some people who didn't get it. That you were being ironic by saying that, and I don't even say it. I'm an Australian citizen. Technically speaking, I'm a citizen of Australia, and we still, our country doesn't have a president. We have King Charles. So, but I don't say that long live the king, because I don't consider him my king, just because I know something of what really goes on. But we're really here to discuss your missions, your involvement in these covert operations, and you have another mission update to share with us. You want to tell us? I mean, when did this happen? It is this recording is May 28th. So when did this mission happen?
2 days ago.
Can you tell us what happened on May 26th, which would have been a Friday?
Yeah, I came back from Tampa. I was over there for a little bit. I was going back and forth, visiting friends, and on my way back, it's like a 5-hour trip around there. In the middle of getting back over here, I pulled over. I fell asleep in the parking lot, resting area. There was a white van, came up, parked behind me, and they said, "Let's go." I said, "Hey, is my car going to get towed?" "No, it's not going to get towed. Don't worry about it. Let's go. We need you. Let's go. We need to go out." We've been following you since Tampa. Everybody knows Tampa, is where my first experiences happened and all that. One of the first experiences that I started talking to you about. Again, I encourage people to look in the past of stories that we have been putting out and all that. And you probably put the links like you always do, Doc. I appreciate it. I got picked up by the van, and I noticed a familiar face there. It was quite weird to see that familiar face. This was a family member, and he was in the van with me. And he's like, "Just keep it as it is. You know who I am, and just don't say nothing." I said, "Bro, but how is it possible that you're doing this as well?" He said, "Bro, man, I've been trying to hold it in, and I can't no more. So I asked to be part of the mission with you." I'm like, "Oh, crap. Okay." So I was surprised. I was surprised to see him there because he's related to me.
Can you clarify something? I mean, is this, you've told me about some of your family members. Is this one of the family members that actually is serving in the military?
No, it's not. But he has family that is serving in the military. He was suited up. He said, "Suit up." And I saw his rank, and it was a higher rank than me. I'm like, "Bro, but why you never told me?" Well, he's not my bro, but I call my family members, like bro and all that. And he's like, "Let's go. We got to go." So we took the van, and we drove like 45 minutes, and we took a black helicopter. We flew up, and we landed on the boat. It was a big boat. Can't tell you the name of the boat, and people know the location. It's a big boat, a big boat. We landed, and I said, "Hey, where are we going?" I can give you his name. That's the only thing I can give you. His name is Alex.
So Alex is the name of your relative that actually isn't serving in the military, but had a higher rank than you. For the mission, he had a higher rank than you.
Well, when I say rank, there's different levels of when you go to these missions. You don't really follow the rank of not the military, but you follow a different rank system. And it's a rank system on experience and what you have been through. So I was quite surprised when I saw him with a higher rank than me in this particular mission.
Okay, that's a very important point, because that is something I've come across before. William Tompkins, He was a second class seaman, but because of his expertise and his abilities, even though he was an 18-year-old second class seaman, he did these covert missions. And when he was on these covert missions, he had the rank of a lieutenant commander. That was back around 1943 when he was serving out of Naval Air Station San Diego. So his regular rank in the U.S. Navy was as a second class seaman. But when he was doing these missions, he was taking briefing packets to different bases. He had the rank of lieutenant commander. So it sounds like your relative Alex, he had much more experience, and so he had this higher rank.
So yeah, what we need to understand is also, Doc. I know you're familiar with this, but we also have these people. Everybody that goes through these programs, they go through these 5 years and back, 10 years and back, 15 years and back, 20 years and back, and they gain rank on these years and back and forward, and they gain experience and they gain more knowledge than other people. So I know Tony is more familiar with that. He knows more about that information.
Tony Rodriguez, who
Yeah.
did a 20 and back, and he served on Ceres, with the planetoid Ceres, for 13 years as a slave as part of the Dark Fleet merchant ship.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's 20 and back, there's 15 and back, 10 and back, 5 and back. There's a lot of different years and back. If you get into that, your brains will, it's amazing the technology that we have, and it's not out yet. So we were on this boat, and they lined us up. There was like 20 other soldiers lined up. Everybody had a mask. I had a mask myself, and we were dressed in like a grayish uniform, type of like OCPs, uniforms. And we had gloves. I remember that. And on the ship, there was a triangular craft that was hovering over us. And this triangular craft hovered, and it came down to the level right next to where the helicopter was, but right next to the ship over the water. And it hovered. And a door came out like a shape of an L, and then it spread out and it was on the ship. And it was following, like, it was cool because this PR-3B was following the same movements of the ship and the waves when it connected the L shape, ramp to it. So it was floating with the ship and connected with the waves of movement, the movement of the ship. So I noticed that it connected when it touched the ship. It started doing the safe movement, but it was stationary and the ship was moving, and we were watching it coming in. So that was quite interesting. I never seen that before. It came down. I'm gonna explain it one more time. It came down. It connected to the ship, and then it started doing the same movement of the ship. So we saw that, and then everybody started going in to this. It was a bigger TR-3B. It was huge. I noticed that. And I said, hey, where the hell are we going? Do you know where we're going? And nobody knew where we were going. And we sat down, and everyone was looking at each other like really scared. Yes, Doc.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of like repeat that for people that are trying to follow what's happened. So you land on the ship. You were taken there by a Black Hawk helicopter. You land. There's 20 personnel all there, and you're giving these OCPs, the occupational camouflage pattern uniforms. You put those on. Well, what other equipment were you given for this mission before you got on to the TR-3B that flew up there?
We did not have no weapons. When we went on the triangular ship, they had weapons there for us already connected to the ships. That is part of the inventory of the ship as well. The ship carries certain inventory that is for the ship itself and for the occupants, that when they These weapons that they give you from the TR3B, I don't know if I ever told you this, but they have when you touch them, everybody's connected. Like it's like a radio. The grip can sense the heartbeat of your hand and your heart pressure and all that. So they'll know by you carrying this weapon, and it has a type of GPS. So this weapon that they give you is
Like a smart gun.
is a really smart gun. It has sound, a kind of weapon that you can manipulate the sound to it, and you can make anybody throw up. It's like a type of ray gun, but you don't see. You can see in the infrared. You can see it. You can see the heat, but you can see when you shoot it. It's like a laser, but it's not like
So
a
look,
Star Wars laser type of gun. It's different from a M4. It's not. No bullets involved. It has like a battery pack, and this battery pack lasts for days on it.
so is
And
it like a microwave gun where where you have different settings on it, and one setting is you can make people sick, another setting you
yeah,
can
yeah,
you can make them kind of run or because they get heat or whatever.
or make people turn crazy in a way, like madness, like get when it attacks the pineal gland, it it changes everything. It's insane technology. It's crazy. Um, we have naval ships
Kind
that
of like
have
a
this.
zombie gun. I mean, you can literally turn people into mindless zombies. Is that what you're saying?
No, no, not not zombies, but like they'll just become insane, like screaming and running around the place, to give their location out. We can just like say we're in a wooded area, we just spray this weapon out. We could just hear people screaming out of nowhere, and we know the exact location. It's a cool weapon. I just hope people don't use it in the wrong way. We just have it for protection. So we took the TR3B and we landed on this island. I don't know what island was this. It was closer. I know it was cold island. You could see a lot of buildings, military personnel working, and all that. This is somewhere in the Atlantic, South Atlantic. When you get off of Puerto Rico, South Atlantic. It took us like an hour to get there with the TR3B.
So when you say South Atlantic and it took an hour to get there on the TR3B from that location, somewhere in that kind of Tampa area,
Well, not
with
Tampa area, the Gulf, somewhere in the Gulf.
the Gulf, somewhere in the Gulf of Mexico. So an hour. So it's South Atlantic. We're talking off the coast of like Argentina or Brazil.
Yeah, but a little bit farther next to like Africa, or like more in the middle.
Okay, okay, kind of like okay, the South Atlantic, right down, kind of like Falkland
We have
Islands, something
we
like
have a
that.
couple islands there that are not showing on maps, on Google Maps or nothing like that. They're quite big islands, and probably the half the size of Puerto Rico or the size of Puerto Rico. There's islands there that are not shown by Google Maps or any kind of maps or any kind of satellite. Quite interesting. There's a lot of islands around like that they just appeared, probably using the same technology that China was doing to create an island. But it's been there for a while, the island, because the buildings they were really ancient looking. It looked like I don't know if you ever been to Egypt or Israel when you see the ancient type of buildings and how it was built. So, but the base was in between these buildings and all that. It was kind of cool. And we had other ET races there working, Nordics working there as well. So we landed.
So can you explain? Oh, yeah, yeah. You land and you see these Nordics working on the base. So we're talking on the surface of the base. You see different ETs, including Nordics, working. That's what happened.
Yeah, we saw Nordics working, and the ship hovered on top, and then it came down, and it dropped all of us up, and then it just zooped out. In the blink of an eye, it just left. I said, man, why the hell they do that when we, like, why spend so much time to get here? And then it just zooped out. Everybody was like cursing it out, cursing the pilot out. Like, we would have got there fast. But we were there in that island, and then this island In the middle of the island, do you know that they have this tower that looks like the Egyptian tower that also the White House has? I mean the Washington
The
has?
obelisk. That's the
Yeah,
obelisk.
they had one in the middle, and it was huge, and it was golden color, tan in color, and it had Egyptian writing on it. And we saw a step pyramid there as well. And we were like, man, where the hell is this place at? Like, what? Like, what is this? And then my family member, he said, hey, follow me. I need to talk to you. So we went into this tent looking place where they were briefing people. And I said, hey, bro, like, what are we doing here? I said, what are you doing here? Oh, no. They said that I could be in the mission with you. And we're going to go underground here. And they have a big city here. I said, what kind of city they have here? He says, man, it's nothing like on top of the island. All these people that used to live on top of the island, they moved down. And I said, hey, but I see Egyptian writings all over the place. Yeah, these people are Egyptian. And they kept their traditions and all that. Yeah, you're gonna get to know. I said, cuz how many places are like this around, Earth? He's like, just follow me, man. Just follow me and shut up. Don't say nothing. So I'm like, I was totally confused, Doc, in the situation, but he told me to follow him. So I followed him, and I saw a familiar elevator, similar one to what the donut ship had in the Atlantic Ocean for the Ark. And I looked at it. I said, "Hey, that's an elevator." He says, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. We have a lot of these all over the place." So we got in the elevator. It was me, him, and two other guys, a total of four people. So I was like, "Oh, we're going down?" He says, "Yeah, yeah, we're going down." And then there was a dog as well that came with us, a Labrador dog. It was trained, real good trained. And we went down, and then it stopped in the middle. It stopped in the floor, and then the two guys and the dog left. And then it kept going down. The elevator kept going down. We kept going down, and we stopped in this big dome, like place filled of ships, and you could see as far as you could see is it was huge. It was humongous. And my family member, Alex, he said, you see this? This is another spaceport. I'm like, whoa, but this is a huge one. You could see as far as you could see, Doc. Different kind of ships. Similar to what we saw in the last story I was telling you about. But this one was like 50 times bigger. Like it was huge. I was like, man, how far down are we? Just don't worry about it. Just follow me. So I was like, bro, but like, explain to me what's going on. So we
Just to
went.
clarify, this base that you saw down there in the South Atlantic, underneath that island, that's not on any map. That this base was much, much bigger. I mean, than the spaceport that you saw in that Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee area. That was a spaceport that used stealth, and craft could come in and out through some kind of light or laser device through the base into the upper atmosphere. But here in the South Atlantic, a much bigger base. You said what, 50 times bigger? So that's enormous.
It's huge, huge. So I went with my cousin, and we stopped, and we saw this, and then two people approached to us. They were pissed off. They were mad, and they grabbed us like forcibly, and they started talking like this weird language. I did not. They sounded like agagare gugurita ba etumu oribike ayagaga. It sounded like similar to that. The sound, I can remember that. Agagare tutubu, like gigirubutu sistepere. They started talking like this weird language. I'm
Now,
like,
you said there were two of them. There were two of them, but there were 20 of you guys that got off the ship in these uniforms with these special weapons.
mhm.
So was it, that these two guys from the base, did they kind of stop you, your
No, yeah, these
rails?
two guys from the underground base, they were not dressed as us. They had robes on. and all that. In the elevator, only 4 of us came down with a dog. They stopped midway. 2 of them left, and then me and my family member, we kept going down, and we stopped in this big ass port that you can see as far as you can. And that's when we got approached by these 2 other people dressed in robes, and they started talking this weird language, and they grabbed us by force. We did not have our weapons. We left our weapons on top of the island. We went into the elevator without these weapons. He grabbed us by force, and they put us in this box. And we were both there like until Saturday. We did not eat nothing, drink nothing. We had to pee in the corner. It sucked. I don't know why they had us there, but we were there like for probably like 22 hours around there on Friday to Saturday. And we were confused why they had us there.
So this box was like a prison cell. Can you say anything more about it? I mean, what was it like? Like clearly a prison cell with the amenities to hold prisoners, or was it just like a temporary box shelter that they
It
put
was like
you
a
in?
temporary metal box, a box. It was metal. Like the whole thing was metal, cold as shit. You can touch the wall, and it was vibrating. I was trying to get the hell out of there. I don't know what was going on. I was touching the wall. I was like, why the hell? I was arguing with my family member, Alex. And I was like, why the heck you brought me here? He says, just be quiet, bro. And just be calm. That's it. Don't worry about this. I'm like, okay, but we're stuck in here. I don't know how long we're going to be here. So I was just trying to, knocking on the walls, trying to do Morse code, trying to do, I even screamed out loud. I was driving my family member crazy. He was just calm. And they open up the box because for one, I was scared for the oxygen to run out. And it felt tight, and I was already feeling like, dizzy and all that with all the CO2. And I was worried about not having food. It was crazy. It was a crazy experience. And they opened up the door. We were so weak. I was so like tired and weak, and I did not want to fall asleep because I just did not want to fall asleep. My cousin, he did not want to fall asleep either. So we went there. They took us out, and they lined us up, and I could understand what they were saying. Okay, they fasted enough to see what they needed to see. So the reason they put us in the box is to have us like pure without like no food or something like that. I don't know what the hell they wanted to do with us without no food and all that, but they just wanted us like fasted, you know. I don't know what that has to do with some ET races or fasting or anything like that, but they wanted us like kind of pure. So they took us out, and they drove us in this type of train they took us on this like rail train looking thing that was floating on magnetic freaking tracks, and it floated us to a different location, and it stopped us there, and there was a Nordic there. He was dressed in silver. He had blue eyes, long white hair, like a whitish yellowish hair, and he says, I have to tell you something, and I want you to relate this message. And I'm like, I looked at him, and I said, you made us go through what we went through. Why you didn't tell us that we were going to go through that? He says, you need to have patience. And I'm like, oh, like I was just stressed out, Doc, about the whole situation. And the Nordic was looking at me. He says, soon we're going to be moving and taking our ships on different types of volcanoes and on different kind of bases, military bases around the world. And we want you to know that we're here not to cause harm, but just to give protection and to teach. And we're going to start picking up a lot of people and showing them this type of technology, and we're going to share. And I asked him, where are you from? And he says, I'm from a place that is way older than you. I don't know what that meant, but he said, I'm from a place that is older from than you.
That sounds like he's referring to an inner Earth civilization that is much older than our surface civilization, which I guess our civilization, if you want to technically date it, is probably 6,000 years old, going back to the Sumerians.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like this civilization he belongs to is much, much older than that.
And then he gave me a type of crystal, a bluish crystal. And he says, take this and take it back up there. This is your way out. And I said, that's it? I came down here for you to tell me this? You couldn't like tell me up there? I have to come down here? And he said that he is like 1,200 years old, that he could not go into the surface yet. But there's other like him around the world that will hit the surface. And I'm like, okay, I feel, special, but I was still, hungry. I was still mad. And my cousin was just calm. He was just like, nothing happened.
Okay, so that kind of like does make some sense that you were put in that box for nearly 24 hours because your vibration needed to be cleansed so that when this elder from that Earth civilization met you, who's what, 1,200 years old, that your vibration wasn't going to be too jarring for him, that it wouldn't be too disturbing, because I guess that he would need to be protected to a certain extent from people from the surface whose vibration was very strong and maybe jarring or disturbing in some way.
Yeah, but he pissed me more off putting me in this box, He knew I was pissed off by the sarcastic way I was talking to him and all that. And my family member, Alex, he was like, have you talked to these people before? I'm like, yeah, I have talked to different people of different races before and from different planets as well. And he was like shocked that I talked to a different type of people before. And the Nordic, he said, I'm going to walk you back. And then he started walking us back. But he looks like really young. I don't know if he was, why would he be telling the truth about his age? I don't know. But he really looked like really still young and all that. And I remember him giving me this crystal, and I hold it in my hands. And when you squeeze this crystal, you can see the future. So it vibrates your whole body, and you can feel the future and all that. And I did not see the moon. I saw the sky, and I saw mountains. I did not see buildings. In the distance, I saw futuristic cities, flying, building like structures, like flying around. It was weird. And then I just gave it to my cousin, and he has it. And the Nordic said, "Remember what I told you? We're gonna be visiting the bases and all that." And that's when it was weird. It was weird because during that same time, there was that incident with that Marine base getting visited with a type of big UFO, unidentified flying object flying over it.
So this vision you had, that crystal device, when you squeezed it, gave you a vision, and I'm assuming a vision of the Earth, but one where you saw futuristic cities, the environment was cleaned up, very pristine, very clean, but no moon. And that's interesting because the moon, and I've come across many sources that say that the moon actually is an artificial body and it's a control mechanism, and that if the moon was left us, that if we got the moon to leave its orbit, that actually that control that it exercises would be gone, and our planetary vibration would be able to rise more quickly.
Yeah. So that was quite interesting. I don't know how far in the future was that, but I felt after he kept talking to us, I felt a lot of peace with this Nordic. There was a lot of Nordics behind him. I remember them like just behind him, like watching him. And so, yeah, we went to this mission just to receive that message. And that really, really pissed me off in a way. I could have gotten that message here at home, but I guess, like you said, maybe I needed to be in a vibrational with the fasting and all that, a vibrational just to see him. That's understandable now that you said that because they're in a different vibration.
Right. So this Nordic being that you saw, I mean, we're not talking Nordic in the sense of an extraterrestrial. We're talking Nordic in the sense of someone that's human, but looks Nordic, but is part of an inner Earth civilization that is very, very ancient. And now or maybe they are working with Nordic ETs, and their ships are going to be revealed much more frequently now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they've been here for a long time on Earth, but they're ETs. They come and go. They go and come and go, and they're scattered all over the world, inside Earth and outside, flying these ships and all that. And there's a lot more different ETs flying around. And don't forget about the drones coming out from the arcs as well. That's quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So we went back on the elevator. We went back up, all the way up. Me and my family member, and the other soldiers that came with us, they were nowhere to be found. So the TR-3B picked us up again. We got in the TR-3B. We went out of the atmosphere of Earth. We went around Earth like twice. Then we went to the location of where the Navy ship was. We got out. Quickly, we got into the helicopter and quickly took us back to the location, drove us back to where I was parked. And then I it's funny because I text my family member this morning, and I said, "Hey, that was freaking cool." And he's like, "What you talking about?" And like he doesn't know about it, like if nothing happened to him. So that was quite weird. Maybe he don't want to be part of this closing or anything like that, or he's being watched. But I tried to text him, I tried to call him, and every time I talk about the situation, he says that I'm crazy and that he doesn't know what I'm talking about.
That's very interesting. But this family member, he arranged this mission for you. I mean,
Yeah.
that was it was done under his authority. So that is very interesting. I mean, he could be just kind of like maintaining secrecy, or maybe his memories were wiped, or after each mission his memory is wiped or something. Or it's very strange.
That is we grew up in the same place. We're close family members, but I never would have thought that he was part of this as well.
That is interesting. Well, I
He's
guess
he's like a year older than me, a year and a half older than me. 2 and 1. It's quite interesting.
It is. That is fascinating. Well, I know we're going to be releasing this around the same time as your book, or as my book about your life, about when you first contacted me in 2008 is coming out. So it'll come out on June 5, which is when this interview will be released. And so, that's where I present all of the missions, or many of the missions that you've told me about since 2008. So it's been 15 years now that you've been telling me about these missions, and you've given me a lot of photos. You've given me some videos, and yeah, I've recorded it and kept notes of it all. So now it's all in a book form. So people that want to learn more about JP's past, when we first began communicating, what happened, look at some of the documentation going all the way back to 2008. That's all inside this new book that I've released, which is about JP's life. That's called U.S. Army Insider Missions.
It's quite interesting you're doing that. For me and for everybody that wants to know about what's really happening. That's really, really nice of you. I really appreciate your job, and I really appreciate what you're doing for this community also. And it's funny that you say that, because somebody called me and says if you wanted to do like a movie about this. I'm like, I don't know about that. Like somebody called me and asked me if they wanted to do a movie about the story and all that. I said, you have to talk to Doc. He's it is what it is. But that's quite interesting. A lot of people are going to know about my life story, and I've been telling you for the past 15 years, and it has a lot of connections with now that we're finding out that there's connections in every part of how this was happening. Quite interesting.
Well, it's been quite a journey. Your transition from a civilian, where you were having these experiences, and then your decision to join the army, so that you could learn more, be exposed to more, and to reveal more. So you've got an incredible mission or life purpose that you are fulfilling in revealing the truth about the extraterrestrial presence, about secret space programs, and you are very pivotal, I think, to the full disclosure that is coming to our planet. So I want to thank you on behalf of my audience, JP, for everything you do and your courage. And this does come with risks, and we don't want to talk about what's happened to you, but definitely it's not an easy thing. And so I again just want to applaud your courage and dedication to getting the truth out there to the rest of humanity.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, Doc. A lot of people go through this in the past and in the present. I have to stay inside my house 24/7 because there's cars following me all over the place. People threatening me. It's quite tough. You don't know who's who. But I thank God everything is I'm getting permission. It's not like I'm not protected. I'm protected by a lot of people. So as long as I get the green light, to talk to you, I feel safe. The moment they say I can't talk to you no more, that's when I guess I can't. But so far, I'm getting the green light, not the red light, on certain things that I can talk to you about still. There's other things that has been happening to me that I don't have the red light to tell you about. And it's involving people that a lot of people know, certain celebrities, not celebrities, but everybody's playing a role on certain things that is really hard to talk about. I don't have the green light yet to talk about that. And also, this passes from different countries as well. Brazil has a major story as well about this. There's a lot of stories in Brazil that I don't have the green light yet to talk about. And I can't wait when they said, okay, you can talk about this. This is coming out. Boom, boom, boom. All right, you can talk about this. And it's going to be quite interesting when that happens. And now with this development, with my family member being part of this, we do carry the same blood, from one part of our family member. So there's something there, And then my father had experience in Puerto Rico as well. I remember me telling you about this. He saw a big ball of fire coming out from a lake from Puerto Rico when he was younger. And he followed this ball of fire, and the ball of fire disappeared in the lake of Puerto Rico. And that experience changed his life totally. And he's working for the government. I can't tell what agency he's working for or who he's working for. But yeah, is it when people have history of things happening to them, it keeps following your generations, and yeah, it's tough, but we have to get it out there, and share the love and share the positive energy and the information that will help humanity move forward with the truth. And I really appreciate you of what you're doing. You're playing a big role as well, and I appreciate you.
Well, thank you, JP.
You have been listening to Exopolitics Today with Dr. Michael Salla. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Join or start a conversation in the comments. Take the time to explore the vast library of best-selling books, webinars, and podcasts by Dr. Salla. Visit exopoliticstoday.com.